What is up, math superstars? In this edition of Mr. Peterson Presents, I'm bringing to you how to model integer subtraction. So here in part one, we're going to go ahead and model integer subtraction using a handy-dandy number line. So here we have our first example. We have 5 minus 3. So let's go ahead and model that on our number line here. So first we're going to go ahead and model 5. So what we do is we start at 0 and we count 5 spaces. We draw a line and label that with the number 5. So we've modeled 5. Now let's go ahead how we model taking away 3. So in doing that, all we're doing is saying we're taking away this amount. Take away is the key phrase there. And so what we do is we start at 5. And to take it away, we're going 3 spaces to the left. And that leaves us with an answer of 2. So here, we're using this very simple principle to go ahead and model how we are going to accomplish how to subtract all integers, including negatives. So now let's go ahead and take a look at our example. Number 2, we have negative 5 minus 3. So our very first step here is we're going to go ahead and model what negative 5 looks like. So we start at 0. Let's go to model negative 5. And then we stop right there. So we've successfully modeled negative 5. Now we need to go ahead and model negative, or take away 3. So if we're taking away that positive 3, we now need to go 3 spaces to the left. 1, 2, 3. We stop and draw a line. So we took away 3. And that gives us an answer right here of negative 8. So now let's go ahead and take a look at our third examples here. So we have 5 minus a negative 3. So let's go ahead and model this now. So let's go ahead and model positive 5. So we always model that first number. So we go ahead and model in positive 5. We're going to the right. We label that with 5. Now we need to take, so we model 5, sorry. So now let's go ahead and we need to take away a negative 3. So we're going to start right here where we ended off at. And when we took away positive 3, we went to the left. So since we're taking away negative 3, we have to do the opposite. So we have to go to the right 3 spaces. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3. So we modeled taking away a negative 3, and that gives us an answer of positive 8 is where we end off on. Now in step 2, we're going to go model integer subtraction using our yellow and red counters. So at this point in the video, what I want you to do is raise your hand, wave at the person next to you, try to give them a high five. They're going to wonder, why are they giving me a high five for? You go ahead, and when you raise your hand, I'll know that you're ready for the red and yellow counters. So now we're going to go ahead and model subtraction of integers using the counters. And so in your hand, you should already have a little baggie of the yellow and red counters. And so we're going to go over a couple things before we get started here. So we know that our yellow, those are positive ones. Our red are negative counters, and we know that when we have a yellow and a red together, that gives us a 0 pair. So now we're given this problem right here. So we have 4, take 4 minus 3 equals, and so all that's saying is 4 in subtraction, the wordage is called take away. So let's go ahead and model that using the counters here. So we're going to go ahead and model positive 4, 3 yellow, 4 yellow. So we modeled positive 4. So here's positive 4. Now we're going to go ahead and take away positive 3. So let's go ahead and take away positive 3 counters here. Goodbye, positive counters. 1, 2, 3. And so after we took away positive 3, our answer is what is left. So we're left with positive 1. So we're going to use this idea of taking away to figure out how to model all integer subtraction. So now let's talk about how to model 3 minus 4. So our very first step here is we model our first number. So we're modeling positive 3. Now we need to take away positive 4 counters here, but you notice something. We only have 3 positive counters here. So this is where our 0 pair comes into play here. So what we do is we can add a 0 pair here. So we had a positive and a negative to help us model 3 take away positive 4. So what we did right now is we have our 0 pair we added. So it didn't change anything. But now what we can do is let's go ahead and take away 4 positives. So we're taking away our 4 positives. So that leaves us with our answer is 1, but we notice that it is a negative counter. So we're left with negative 1. So now let's take a look at this problem here. So we're given this problem, negative 3 minus 4 equals. So our first step is we're going to go ahead and model negative 3. 1 negative, 2 negatives, 3 negatives. And we need to take away positive 4 counters here. So we notice here we only have negative counters. And so we're going to go ahead and use our friends call the 0 pairs. So in doing so, we can add as many 0 pairs as we want here. And it does not change our equation. So if we add a 0 pair, can we take away 4 positive counters? We need to take away 4 yellow counters. The answer is no, so let's go ahead and add another 0 pair. Can we take away 4 positive counters yet? The answer is no, so let's go ahead and add another 0 pair. So we're getting closer, so let's go ahead and add one more. I think we'll do the trick. So we notice now we have 4 0 pairs. So now let's go ahead and take those away because it's subtraction. And the answer is what we're left with. So let's go ahead and count all of our counters here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we know that we have 7 counters in the red, so it makes us negative 7. So you've successfully modeled 3 different problems using counters. So now go ahead on your own, go to the Classworks page, go ahead and try the examples there using counters. So now for part 3, we're going to talk about the rules for integer subtraction. So to subtract integers, what we do is that first number, whatever that number is, we're not going to do anything to the sign of that number. That number stays exactly the same. So that is number 1. Number 2, we're going to change the subtraction sign to an addition sign. And in step number 3, we're going to change the sign of the second number. So if that second number is positive 7, we're going to make it negative 7. If it's a negative 7, we make it a positive 7. So all we're doing is we're flipping the sign. And then in step 4, what we're doing is we're going to go back to our addition rules, and we're going to go ahead and use those in the process. So here we have some examples here. So we have 2 minus 7. So our first rule is that the first number stays exactly the same. We're not touching that. Second one, we're going to change the subtraction sign to an addition sign. And then we're going to do the opposite of the second integer. So our second integer is positive 7. Let's go ahead and make that negative 7. So now let's go ahead and add these together here. So we know that when we do our steps, we are left with 5. And we take the sign of the larger number, which is 7. So that's a negative. So we're left with, for 2 minus 7, that gives us an answer of negative 5. Let's go ahead and try negative 2 minus a negative 7. So what we go ahead and do, let's go ahead and do our steps. The first integer stays the same, so we don't do anything to our first integer. We change the subtraction sign to an addition sign. And then we're going to take the opposite of the second integer. So the second integer is negative 7. Let's go ahead and make that a positive 7. So now let's go ahead and follow the rules for addition. So 7 minus 2 is 5. And we take the sign of the larger integer. So larger integer is a positive. So for negative 2 minus negative 7, we're left with positive 5. So last but not least, we have our third example here, negative 10 minus 5. So go ahead, let's follow the rules again. The rules will help us. So here we have negative 10, that stays the same. The addition sign, the subtraction sign, changes to addition. And then we do the opposite of positive 5, which is negative 5. And so here we have a negative plus a negative. Answer is going to be negative. And let's go ahead and just add these two numbers together. So negative 10 plus negative 5 gives us negative 15.